Hi everyone, welcome back to Aspergers from the Inside. You're here with Paul. So today I am supposed to be recording a video on a completely different subject, but I'm not doing that for reasons that I will get to very, very shortly. I don't know if you find this as well, but I find that with my productivity and my focus and a lot of other things in life, I tend to be fairly black and white, fairly binary, either on or off. It's either working and it's working really, really, really well, or it's not working and it's not working really, really, really well. So that makes for some very interesting dynamics because when I'm attempting to get work done, it can be extremely frustrating from an executive functioning perspective to be putting in a huge amount of effort and getting almost nothing in return. And then at other times, I will be just an amazing state of flow where I am not putting in any effort at all and it's just coming out naturally and I'm being hyper productive, getting a week's worth of work done in a day or even in an afternoon. And I don't always have control over if that happens or when that happens. But I do spend a significant amount of my time trying to figure out what are the situations that allow me to get into this state of flow. Because when I can, then everything works well. And when I can't, it is the most frustrating thing in the world. So, what I've noticed is that there are a lot of things that can be distracting. So, when I'm talking to a camera, for example, even just looking at the camera can cause me to lose my train of thought. And if I lose the train of thought, well, I'm not really building up any momentum, am I? So sometimes, ironically, having notes, having prepared, sometimes the more I prepare for something, the less likely I am to be able to get into a state of flow and to actually be productive and perform at all because my brain will be thinking about all of the points that I've prepared and all of the practice that I've done. And that actually, ironically, takes my focus away from the actual task of presenting, the task of performing. Um, I used to play the drums and do lots of musical performances. And what I found is I had to practice so much, practice the same thing 100 times, 1,000 times until it was absolutely 100% ingrained into the back of my memory so that I didn't have to think about it at all. And unless I was that practiced, then I was not able to perform because I would distract myself. I would try to read the music and it just wouldn't work, or I would miss a beat or something. And it was really easy to throw me off unless it was so well ingrained that it was literally almost like second nature. So when I'm teaching teachers with professional development around autism, I share something about my learning curve. And the point of the lesson that I'm sharing with that is that if I'm not good at something, then it takes a huge amount of energy and I generally perform very poorly. And if I put in my 1,000 hours to get good at something, then I am extremely good at that one thing. And partly this goes a long way to explain why a lot of autistic people have a special interest, or at least restricted interests and restricted skills in certain areas. Because if you're anything like me, then doing the things that you're really good at is really fun. It's really nice. It feels amazing to sit down and be hyper productive for an afternoon, right? That feels great. And you know what doesn't feel great? Sitting down for an entire day with a mental block and just not being able to get a single piece of work done. Sometimes when I'm preparing videos, I will do the same 30 seconds for like an hour and I still not happy with it, still can't quite get it right. And then other times, like this video, right? I was in the moment. I had the thought in my head. I'm in a flow at the moment, and we'll see how long it lasts. It might crash at any second, but it's going well for the moment. Or I can just hit record and speak, and the words will flow, and the thoughts will flow, and everything will just flow. And it's amazing to be in that state. So this means that if I'm trying to learn something new, it takes a lot of time and energy to invest in that really hard slog at the start until it becomes almost like second nature, which severely limits my versatility in a way. Because unless I'm an expert, there's kind of no middle ground. So that's a blessing and a curse, I guess, because it's definitely in my favor if I can get it to work. And if I can't get it to work, then I'm coming last again. And so a lot of my schooling, and maybe some of you can relate to this, I was either by far the best or by far the worst. And there just was not a lot of being average in there. So I guess that makes sense that the autistic perspective, the experience is of struggling to be normal, struggling to be average. So I've never really been average in many things in my life, and I guess I just have to accept that. So I guess one of the things that I'll finish up soon. One thing that I've learned about trying to get into flow is that it's not necessarily something you can artificially create, but it's a little bit like an environment where if everything is there, it happens by itself. It's a little bit like the creative process. You can't necessarily try to be creative or force yourself to be creative, but what you can do is give yourself the space, give yourself the tools, give yourself the parameters to allow for that creativity to flow. So I guess that's one of the reasons that they say autistic people are some of the most creative people in the world, because when we do find that environment that suits us well, we do really, really well and can achieve amazing things. So I thought I would make a quick video about that. I should probably leave it there and get back to what I was supposed to be doing. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you another time. Bye.